Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from our sustainability. He's from Public Works. It's every time
Planning now.
Planning.
Planning.
You got moved to planning? Or have you always been under planning?
No, it was Public Works until right before I joined the city and got moved to planning.
This is Phil Groupie, Sustainability Specialist. So today I looked up your title officially because I've been saying, it's Phil. He does a little bit of everything.
I like that.
I kind of felt bad about that, so I wanted to make sure I did it right.
Oh, thank you. I'll in exchange, I honestly just cut right into the meat of the interviews. I haven't noticed if you have like a theme song or something. Do you?
I do.
Okay, I was going to say if not, I'd write you one as a thank you, but
pretty disappointed that you're not watching the whole thing, but it's okay, Phil.
Well, I just want to get right to Jeremy.
Let's get right to what we're talking about today, and we're talking about a couple of things here. First, update on the sustainability plan. We've been asking for people's feedback. That window is closing?
Yes and no. So there is a survey that's available. We're keeping that open indefinitely. We want to get as much feedback as we possibly can, get people's sense of what concerns them right now about, related to sustainability, if anything. Where would they like to see the city focus efforts? What's been their experience? But then also we're taking applications for a planning team that over the next 6-7 months is going to help to drive the general approach of the sustainability plan. We're taking those applications through August 31st. So that's 3 days from now. I would love to get more applications in. Last I heard we were at 16. Let's get to 20 or 30 people and really get this or 60. Let's get 60 people.
Well, even
the challenge is out there.
Right after it closes, will you still take people that are interested? What if somebody finds out, like they're watching this, 10 days from the day that we tape this?
I would say if you find out about this and you want to get involved, always contact us. Whether the planning team is taking people or if we're just, we want to engage in a conversation, I'll grab a coffee with people and chat. As my schedule allows, of course. But yeah, I don't want to discourage anybody from reaching out to participate. We want to get as many people's opinions as we can. We want to get these voices. We want to get representation from the whole city. We are officially accepting applications for the planning team through the 31st, but reach out anytime.
Well, after you get the plan started and kind of that plan will continue to get updates too, right? So it's a working document.
Absolutely, yeah. It'll be a working document. It's gonna, it will adapt to the city as we check things off the list, as the city changes. Not to go too much on a tangent, but the bike and pedestrian plan we're looking at updating because when it was written in 2017, we hadn't yet brought in the portions of the town of Madison that are now part of the city of Fitchburg. So, the city changes, our plans need to change to update, and the sustainability plan will be no different.
And that's why we'll always take it,
That's right.
That's why we want you here helping us continue to work that plan, help Phil, help the team keep going with that. So we'll keep you updated. What are the next steps after I guess, starting in September? The work begins?
So right now, the work begins. We've been doing background data collection. I actually just received over the weekend the preliminary documents from Pale Blue Dot, the contractor that we're working with. They've got a couple more to send my way, and I really want to dig into these in depth. But I've got a greenhouse gas inventory done by Pale Blue Dot. I've got a tree canopy and general ground cover land use study and a vulnerability assessment. So a lot of good data in there. Just a couple little things that I picked out before coming down here. From 2014 to 2022, they're kind of looking at an 8-year period and some chunks, 14, 18, 22, just to see what the trends have been over the last couple 4-year cycles. Our greenhouse gases as an entire community have actually decreased over those 8 years, even as population has gone up, economic activity has gone up, and the primary drivers of that are electricity has decreased greenhouse gas emissions, and our water utility and water treatment. And so that's reflective of the fact that a lot of electricity has become greener as there's been more solar and wind developed both by the utilities and by homeowners, decentralized kind of on their own property. Certainly the city has made significant investments in renewable energy and energy efficiency, and so our overall carbon footprint has decreased as a city. but also the water utility and the Madison Metro Sewer District are relying more on renewable energy and looking for more efficient ways to power things. So that's been a pretty awesome win, that our greenhouse gases are already decreased by about, I think it was 15 or 17% over the last 8 years, even as population has gone up, I think 13% in that time. In terms of tree canopy, this is just kind of interesting. About 21% of Fitchburg is covered by tree canopy, another 30-ish% by grass and lawns, another 30-ish% by agricultural land, 3 or 4% by open water, and then 14% is different types of impervious surfaces. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of an interesting mix there, that, you know, the benefit of things like tree canopy and green space is that you get more water infiltration instead of runoff. You get that provides greater resiliency to heavy rainfalls, floods. The more you can have that rain soak in instead of washing off. That also, you know, runoff takes chemicals and other things into our water bodies, which we don't want. Tree canopy also provides shade. It can decrease the heat island effect. If you've got trees, you know, on your south or west facing part of your house, that can decrease sun intensity in the summer, so it decreases your air conditioning load. It can provide some wind block in the winter so that it can decrease your gas heating requirements. All these different benefits provided by, depending on what the ground cover is. So there's some of the reasons for looking at land use and trying to figure out if there are ways for us to change there.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of really good information there. I've only just started scratching the surface, but really excited to look at that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting to see this all come together, and we'll look forward to talking about it here on the show.
Yep.
And of course, as you develop and share the information with council and residents, it's going to be good stuff there. So,
oh yeah.
Finally, we're short of time here, so
right.
I hate to. We'll pick up on this on another conversation, but the Inflation Reduction Act actually had $369 billion to fight climate change in it. Tell us what that means.
Yeah, so this is the Inflation Reduction Act is the single largest investment the federal government has made in climate change in the country's history. A lot of people aren't aware of that. It just isn't necessarily being advertised, or maybe they're missing those. The fact is, the name is the Inflation Reduction Act, and that was something that helped to get it passed at a time when inflation was spiking. People were really concerned about that. But in this bill are a lot of climate measures that people really should know about. The only way that this is going to be successful is if local governments and states and schools and tribal governments and homeowners and businesses take advantage of the initiatives that are in there. So for homeowners, there are things like a 30% solar credit available, an extra 10%, I think, if the solar panels are made in the US. You can get up to $14,000 for various energy efficiency upgrades to your home, things like getting more efficient HVAC systems, getting heat pumps instead of gas furnaces. There are rebates for electric vehicles, up to $4,000 for a used vehicle, and I think $7,500 for a new EV. Rebates for getting EV chargers. Just a whole lot of different things that are packaged into this. You can find information on energy.gov or energystar.gov on. You know, there have been articles written about it with details on some of the incentives on CNET, on Forbes, on Vox. NRDC's got a bunch of information on there, but just a lot of really valuable information online about the Inflation Reduction Act.
And for somebody who's like, well, is it really benefit me? Is it worth taking I even hate to say risk, but is there a reward at the end here? In doing it?
It's a good question.
I think you're like, Jeremy, come on, you know.
No, it's a great question. We dealt with this all the time. So in a past life, I worked on energy efficiency programming with utilities. Actually, did a bunch of stuff with Focus on Energy. Got a mug here for it.
They are not paying him to say that right now.
Also provides rebates to your home or business for energy efficiency upgrades. They don't provide me money. This is what gets me excited. Absolutely, the economic arguments or question is an important one, and you know, you would need to look at what is the cost that I'm spending above what I would otherwise. If I'm going to buy a 96% efficient furnace instead of a 92%, what's that additional cost? How long am I going to be living in this home? What's going to be the regular payback on my energy savings? And the fact is, almost all of these measures, they're saving, if they're more energy efficient, you're spending less on your energy bills, so they are going to save you money. And it's a question of how long is that payback, and is that payback something that you are economically comfortable with, that you can bear? And if so, then yeah, it's absolutely worth it. it provides more reliability in terms of your monthly costs, because if there are fluctuations in energy prices, you feel those less because you're buying less energy on a day-to-day basis. So the answer is different for different people. For some people, absolutely, it makes sense, and for some people, the answer is maybe not right now. But there are always things you can do, even if it's something as simple as switching to all LED lighting, making sure you turn lights off when you're not in the room. Putting window film over your windows in the winter if you can't replace windows with something more efficient. There are always less expensive things that are available as well.
And ultimately, you're really talking about, we're talking about saving the environment, but we're also talking about saving dollars here. I mean, there are real dollars to be saved that come with not only helping your planet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep,
All right.
and it helps the planet, and I use the term resiliency. That's a really important one. We had those huge floods in 2018. Climate change isn't just impacting the environment; it's impacting people too. Frequently the most vulnerable, not exclusively. Everybody really has we've all got a horse in this race.
Yeah, doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
It's there, and we're going to keep talking about it each and every month here, Phil.
Absolutely.
Phil, thank you so much for your time. If people do want to sign up for the survey yet, or just keep up to date on what's going on besides watching you and I here talk about some of this stuff, how can they do that?
Check out the City of Fitchburg's website and look for a sustainability plan. It'll be one of the links that pops up. You can probably do a Google search as well, and I would imagine, I haven't checked on Google, but Fitchburg, Wisconsin Sustainability Plan. Both the city's website and Pale Blue Dot's website have information on that.
All right, Phil, thank you so much for the time, and
Thanks,
love
Jeremy.
chatting with you each and every month. It's fun.
It's fantastic.
All right, we'll see you next month.